Hey, everybody, this is Perch. I've got these mails. People are like, hey, Perch, you talked about the X-Men and things you love, and it was the best thing you've done in like forever. Um, I, I think that people want to hear passion in comics. Not for me. I mean, most of the time, probably not for me. I'm a nobody in comics. The funny thing is, every now and then, some of my critics, which come from both sides of the aisle, so to speak, will go at me of like, they'll like, you're not a very big guy. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no. I'm aware. I'm a small guy. I always wanted to be a small guy. Certainly in comics, I wanted to be a big guy with like my family and my friends. I didn't. I'm not out here for fame, and it's just weird to me that people are. But be that as it may, but people want to hear passion. And right now, if you're a comic creator, a comic writer, somebody like if you're Tom Brevoort and you're trying to reinvent yourself, one thing you could do, and I mean, this is an area I mean, the pay isn't good enough, Marvel, for do this, but get maybe Fiverr is an option for you. Go to like Fiverr and like, I need to get really joyful, inspirational tweets or Facebook posts about comics. And then just start like this is the most cynical fucking thing you're gonna hear all day, but just like put them into Twitter has this thing where you can go in and you can time your tweets where you can actually release your tweets at a certain time. I've done this. I do this kind of frankly all the time. And the mechanical nature of it helps keep you from the infection of the insanity of Twitter. But this whole thing, uh, like if you are a comic creator and you want to raise your profile and you want to get some like cheap attention in a positive way, then the answer is to post like ultra positive things. Like what you want to do is post about passion, comics that you read that changed your life, and have them sound organic and real. Like this is the thing to do, because so few people are doing it. You're immediately going to stand out from the crowd. Passion matters. Like I will tell you right now, and you could hear it in my voice. I remember kind of the first time, sitting down and reading various comics that changed my life. The first time I read the Dark Phoenix Saga, it was exactly the opposite of what you often hear from, different creators, different news, NEWZ sites, and everything else. It's like you pick this thing up and they're like, there's a battle that just happened with Proteus and you don't know what the fuck's going on. And then this redhead is acting dodgy and don't know what. And then there's this sex club over here, the Hellfire Club. What's going on there? And Wolverine's in the sewer, and like this stuff was so exciting. And I remember by the time you got to the end of it, and keep in mind, I read the Dark Phoenix Saga coming in cold. I didn't know these characters. That was my introduction to the X-Men. Was literally the Dark Phoenix Saga. And I'm like, and Cyclops like, oh my God, no, you can't die. And then this weird little like robot, like defensive gun shoots Jean Grey and just murders her. And it's like fuck, man, I mean, this is some. And I didn't know any of these characters. But I'm like, wow, this is tough. And if you think about the stuff that was introduced in the Dark Phoenix Saga, you had the Starjammers there, and you had the Shi'ar, and you had the Hellfire Club, and you had like all this stuff. And it's wild when you think about all these things that were introduced that you had no context for. There was no intro. There was no 18 issue series. There was no prequel event that talked about how all this stuff worked out. This was just new characters, new concepts, everything. It went from kind of a gritty street level adventure to a little bit of sci-fi to space odyssey to, I mean, like all over the place. You've got this crazy bitch blowing up a planet. Like there was a lot going on in a relatively short amount of time. And I mean, like the Dark Phoenix Saga was, I want to say 8 to 12 issues total. And kind of this, and it depends on how it's collected, but somewhere in that realm. And if you think about it, the Ten of Swords event that Marvel did a couple of years ago was like 26 issues, like 2.5 times the size of this thing with 0.001 of the emotional kind of resonance of this comic. It blows you away. But anyway, this is whenever I talk like this, it's passion that you're hearing. And what I want to have comic creators and others, do for their own good and for comics is let that passion go crazy. And by the same token, there are a handful of kind of YouTubers, people out there, channels who will mock and make fun of that passion. But fuck those guys, because comics is best when we're excited about it. When you're leaning forward and you're like, do you remember the first time you read Kick-Ass and there is, this character who wants to be a hero and he just gets his ass handed to him in this costume? These are great memories. Do you remember the time that you picked up The Dark Knight Returns and you're like, what's old man Batman doing? Shit, he's putting on the uniform and still trying to beat people up even though he's old as fuck. I mean, these are moments in comics that generate this kind of excitement. I defy you to find somebody as passionate about some of this stuff that comes out in, lately. I liked Big Game a lot by Mark Millar. And if the guy will ever, lower himself to talk again on this channel, we should do it. But Mark, in Big Game, created that kind of feeling. It's like there are some characters that were in his different series, and now they're coming in, like what's going to happen to the Chrononauts and what's going to happen to Puck, and all these, to Huck, not Puck. What's going to happen to these characters? And it's exciting when they come onto the screen for the first time. It's like the feeling. And a lot of people, because they're so cynical about Disney, got shitty about Avengers. But if you watched Avengers Endgame, and there is the moment where Captain America's trying to face down Thanos, and he picks up the hammer, and suddenly the little portals open up, and the characters who had been, dusted away start to return. Like, that's a badass moment. And for a lot of people watching that in the theater, it feels good. That's what comics needs to be. They need to feel good. Believe it or not, we're 7 minutes into the video, and I haven't read the email yet. But I kind of did in a different way. So I'm going to read this email, and then I'm going to just refer you to the past 7 minutes. It says, all right, hey, Perch. My brother got engaged recently and chose me as the best man. The wedding is a ways off, but I figured I'd reach out while the channel was still open and ask for some dad Perch advice. I've never been a best man before and wanted to seek some advice on giving a best man speech. Any help would be greatly appreciated. And since this is a comics channel, who is your favorite Superman clone from Marvel? A Superman clone from Marvel. I like Blue Marvel. I think that Marvel has kind of, jacked that up recently, but I like that character. I think there's a lot of stuff you could do with him that, for whatever reason, Marvel is going to jerk around and be like, he's the character that everybody truly loves, and rather than just let the character be cool. So that's an example of them just screwing up a good thing. Anyway, so you're going to be a best man. I have been a best man 3 times, and I screwed one up badly, and then did one okay and one great. So the time I screwed it up badly, I rehearsed the speech, and I tried to be very funny, and I tried to really think about a good joke and put all these things in play, and that was the dumbass thing to do. I say this from the standpoint of the best man speech, even though it sounds cliche, is to speak from your heart. So kind of like I did the last 7-8 minutes now, speak from your heart. What makes you passionate? So when you're talking about these two people who are getting married, presumably you like the people who are getting married, say like, God damn it, this is a good guy and this is a good woman. And the fact that they're together means they're better together. And that's what you want to do. Don't, with best man speeches, you could over architect it. You can go in there and you can try and like get just the right, just the right speech. I don't want to, if anybody want to give 3 compliments to her and 4 compliments to him and everything else. Don't do that. Just go in there and don't worry about that balance and just talk about how awesome these 2 fucking people are who are getting married. And it's okay to stammer, and it's okay to lose your train of thought. It's okay to be kind of more raw in your speech, Because the best man speech, people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for, you to talk about how great these individuals are. They're not looking for you to, to kind of give the sanitized speech. They're looking for reality. So give a speech that feels real. And a speech that feels real is a speech that is one that, is less rehearsed, is less special, is going to, just go with that. Go with something that feels real. Don't try and tell a funny story from the past. The problem is we watch movies in the best man speech where the guy's like, and once upon a time I went out drinking with this guy, and then he looked up at the sunset and said, there's a beautiful sun and with the red colors, and that reminds me of the hair of the girl. Like, don't do that bullshit. Nobody cares about it. Just go in and talk about how much you legitimately love this guy, love this woman, whatever it is. These are best friends, and that it's a good time. That's what you should do. People in a best man speech just want passion. That's what you need to do. So just do that. That's it. And if you do that, you'll be successful and you'll have a good time and they'll remember it forever and it'll be a good memory. Remember, the best man speech is not about you delivering the most amazing orchestrated Ben Franklin-like speech. The best man speech is about giving them, meaning the groom and the bride, a memory. So give them a memory of how much you care about these individuals. That's what you're after. Anyway, I know this is a weird tie and a weird connection, but that's really what all this is about. Comics should be about passion. Show some passion, show some love. If you work in comics, if you write comics, you would be shocked at how far passion will go. Passion is what engenders people to follow you even when you don't have a great idea. And everybody has a bum idea at some point. Every comic run is not as good as it should be at different times. If you show love and support, I mean, like, this is one thing. Every now and then people write me like, why do everybody like that Mark Millar guy? He's a dick. I hate him. Fuck that guy. I will get the most nasty mails about Mark from almost anyone, and it's jealousy more than anything else. But people like, why do people like Mark? Why does he get, great compliments? Why do people, like him? Keep in mind, Mark, who I like his writing. I like the majority of his work. I even, in a weird, crazy way, I like that Trouble comic. Even though it is a train wreck of a comic, I still like it because the guy, he was going for it. I mean, he was putting out crazy shit. Aunt May is a whore. I mean, he was on it. And I respect the hell out of that. It doesn't, I mean, that's all we really want. And I think that's, I don't know. I want that passion gets you through a lot. Chuck Austin did some stories that were arguably batshit crazy, and it still was, he's a nice guy. If you ever talk to Chuck Austin, you wind up feeling bad that people give him so much crap over, the crazy shit he did. Warren Angel's blood can like cure mutant AIDS, like the other kind of, like Azazel. I mean, he wrote some god awful stuff in the X-Men, but when you talk to that guy, he's such a nice guy that and he's passionate about what he does that you feel bad crapping on him for the shitty stories he wrote. And so, like, the secret unlock, if you're a comic creator and you're trying to get some sales to either, I mean, maybe you want to do it for money reasons because you want the royalties, or maybe you want it because, you want to be famous. I don't know what you're after. A guy like Donny Cates, clearly wants to be liked. I mean, he won't admit it, but I mean, if you read his tweets and everything else, he desperately, desperately wants to be liked. Show some passion for comics. Don't do it phony. Don't get on there and go, I'm hard rock. My comics are hard rock. Don't do that. Go in there and be like, you know what? God damn it, I love comics. You'd be amazed how many people will come along. And when you get to a best man speech, it's the same thing. Be passionate. Just love what you're doing or the people you're celebrating and make it clear, and be sloppy if you need to. It's okay, because the passion is more important than the precision. Thanks for listening.